Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of the Around the League Show with James here on the Heedy Network. We have a couple of guests, and I can't wait for you to meet them. We have an array of topics. I'm going to check out what the Angels did this week. Jen Powell becoming the first female umpire, New York's two spoiled apples, the standing streaks, and much, much more. Join us, won't you?
You're on. You're on mute. There you go.
That's why I say there's a little delay, but all right. Again, welcome to Around the League with James. I'm James, of course, and we are joined by two couple of guests. Of course, you know one. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, starting with Mr. Todd Fox.
I'm Mr. Postgame on the Heedy Network. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the Around the League show invitation, as we're going to be talking a lot of things around the league, of course, and also mentioning the Angels. And then I got to my right and your left, Mr. Renee. How's it going?
Good. Nice to be on here.
He's a Dodgers fan, so don't hate him too much. Just in the comments.
Yeah.
I again have to commend Todd. I think on Wednesday, you had people coming at you on your post-game show. I think it was on X, and you shut them down pretty fast with facts. Get through the arty stuff, get through the generations of fans in baseball. I really like that episode. So check out, of course, the Todd Fox post-game show after every Angel game. Also, to our sponsors, you can see below the little ticker I made here, Max Market Pros. Get your social media up, get your business going. It's a great place to do it. 714 tickets. You could also buy or get 10% off using the Heedy code, the code Heedy, I should say, for all events. Pro football coming up, college football coming up. We can't wait, of course. Some of us. Bruheim, you got to check them out there at East Right Circle with a W, right? In Anaheim there, not too far from the Big A. Check out the drink specials. You've mentioned Heedy there as well. And then by the OC Dugout, check out the memorabilia, sports cards, whatever you are looking for. They probably have. Check out the signings that they have from players or people. A lot of stuff going on there. Check out social media here, of course, with Fernando with the question of the day on Instagram, X, Facebook, and all the shows here on YouTube. Lone Star Halo has his podcast. The Halo Hot Take Hoedown. I love saying that all in a
It's
row.
hard to say 3 times fast.
It's a mouthful.
Halo Heart. I already
That's
messed up
what
on
you
the one. So I think that's all. But speaking of the Halos, I think instead of going around the league, we'll stay at home just to start off. Now, the Angels, of course, finished their homestand last week with Tampa Bay. And
Very competitive. Very competitive.
they only won the first game, and you thought, okay, here they go. But they reminded us of who we thought they were. But again, they were let off the hook of being a respectable team in a way. Yeah, just not scoring enough. And then the bullpen, the worst one, I think, stats-wise in the league. They just gave those games up, it seemed like Tuesday and Wednesday.
But they are who we thought
They have
they
every
were.
Thursday
And
off,
we let
I
them off
think,
the hook.
for the rest of the season, by the way. No, they don't. In September, they have all the Thursdays. But in August, at least, they have all Thursdays off. Flew to Detroit. And the first game, again, it was who could outslug who in this series. And it really felt like that. Detroit won 6-5. The Angels held on and got some clutch hits by Taylor Ward. 7-4, they won. And then today was just a struggle. Jack Johanowitz, it just feels like they've, like you guys, I think, like Todd, you probably mentioned, they've messed with him too much, sending him up and down, especially the pitchers.
Mhm.
They just get they get beaten so badly up in the majors. They go back to the minors. And even if they still come back up, it seems like nothing's changing. Kohanowitz has an ERA of 6 now. He's giving up the long ball. Detroit, man, they're just one of those teams. I know they've been struggling a little bit as of late, but they're still a first place team. They've been so much fun to watch. The crowd is back at Comerica Park, which is cool to see. Since last August, they've been on a roll. But yeah, it's been just a bad week. 2 wins out of 6 losses there. Guys, I guess I'll start with Todd, but this week in Angel baseball was just one of trying to outslug the opponent and getting knocked out, basically.
Yeah, they'll never learn. They're definitely a boxer that literally leaves himself exposed for right-hand hooks or little jabs and prefers to just take the haymaker approach, like you said. And, the whole time they were glossing the Angels, saying, you know what? Hey, there's 8 home runs in this 3-game series in a ballpark that's not accustomed to home runs. Again, you're not going to win games. I don't care if they hit 12 home runs. Dude, those are rally killers for the most part. You're not getting on, you're hitting a home run every 4 innings or so. So that means those other 3 frames are being left wide open. You're not scoring runs. You're not playing small ball. You're not hitting the other way. And that all catches up to them. And again, their run differential is pretty bad this year. It's minus 70. So you can't expect a win when you're in the minus, first off. Second, you've got to be able to score an average amount of runs per game, which they're not doing. And then when it comes to pitching, you're absolutely correct. A guy like Kowanowitz has already proven he's not a starter yet. He has starter stuff, but he needs more work. So either leave him in AAA to work through his stuff and get him out of the rotation, because I don't think using him as a long man is going to help him. And then number 2, when it comes to the pitchers, now's the time. You're officially done, dude. Stop blowing smoke up everyone's behind. You're done. Like literally bring up Kana. Bring up Clausen if you have to. Some people say he's not ready, but I'm like, hey, you know what? He's not. They're not learning anything in the minors right now because all the games don't matter. All the teams are in last place, so you're not going to see them pitching deep into September. So to get them more innings, you might as well give them a shot up here in the rotation and get rid of your Hendricks, get rid of your Andersons, get rid of Kowanowitz. There's 3 spots for Clausen, Dana, and Medeiros, and let them pitch. Renee?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. The Angels are just getting beat up up and down the rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, and then what? Kikuchi has had a string of bad luck.
No run support.
Run support. Yeah. Just he'll pitch a good game, but you guys aren't helping him out any.
Yeah.
He did get the win on Saturday, but they had to do it back and forth fashion. It wasn't, a good win, so to speak. But it always seems like Rengifo and Ward, they love hitting on the road. They really hate playing at home or hitting at home. It really feels like that. But yeah, Detroit, just a better team. Facing Schoolboy on Friday. I made sure to be home in time to watch that one. And I know that he did well the first couple of innings, but then the Angels finally got to him, and Schoolboy didn't get the win. But man, facing Schoolboy, that pitcher there, he's probably going to win his 2nd Cy Young in a row, I would think, for the American League. That game was, of course, a big, back and forth game with the homers and the doubles. Joe Adell also went off this road trip here, not on Sunday, but Friday and Saturday. He's another guy where it feels like he hits him better on the road. He did in 2021. He had a big home run, I remember, in Detroit in a series to win a game that they probably shouldn't have. All in all, though, again, the Angels at what 56 now? No, 56 and 62. I remember when they were just trying to get back to 500, but they can never get over. I see teams like Miami last year. They made the trades possible to get better and younger, and you're seeing what they're doing now. And you kind of hope the Angels would do that, but we all know that one man is in the way of all of that, and probably nixing all the trades that could be great to retool, and it just feels unfortunate.
Here's the thing, James, too, like we brought up a lot of times on the post game and other podcasts. It's like you look at where they're at right now. If they could just get a couple games here, a couple games there, they'd be over 500. And in the standings right now, to be over 500 right now, you'd be where Texas is at, 2 games or less out of the final wild card spot. But they can never get there. And we would say it on the post game, dude, if you're always going to flirt with 500 and go underneath it and not catch up, teams are eventually going to pass you and leave you behind. And this has been a year or two where, dude, all it would take is a win streak to get them right back in it. They can't even do that because none of these teams are pulling away. However, they're staying close enough to 500 to where the Angels are now dropping below, where now they're kicking themselves out. The other teams are not even putting them out. They're taking themselves out.
Yeah, just thinking 2 weeks ago, Cleveland was below the Angels, and now they're only a half game behind the Yankees for the third wild card spot. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and even Minnesota, who unloaded basically everybody other from Budden and Joe Ryan, have passed the Angels. The Angels sit 6 back just like that. Don't look now, Baltimore is only 9 back there. That's really unfortunate heading into the Dodgers series at the Big A. Spend your money, Dodger fans. We're going to spray after each game. The Smurf spray, whatever it's called, at the Big A. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series. The Dodgers, of course, will start Yamamoto and Soriano for the Angels. Tuesday will be Sheehan going against Tyler Anderson. Oh, God, that would be fun. And then Wednesday, Shohei Ohtani will start versus Kyle Hendricks.
The gambler.
Oh, boy. Got to know when to hold them. Got to know when to fold them. By the way, that Angel game is on Channel 13, surprisingly.
Wow.
So I guess that'd be cool. But since we have a Dodger fan here, maybe he can give us a little synopsis of, his series that he had against the Blue Jays, and then what he's looking forward to playing the Angels this week.
Well, I mean, with this Blue Jays series, I mean, we had a high probability these games to win, like basically sweep, but the Blue Jays ended up hanging around. So I mean, they ended up taking this one by our implosion of a little bit of an implosion on our bullpen. So and that's been an area of it's an area that needs improvement, and hopefully we get the arms back necessary to shore up the back end of the bullpen. Going into this series with the Angels. Okay, so first one is Yamamoto. Yamamoto has been coming back now into form after getting roughed up a little before the All-Star break. So he is rounding out he's coming back to what he was doing early on in the season. Sheehan, he's just starting to get his legs under him because he's been on the injured list for a while. So see how that goes too as well. If anything, I had to pick a game that you might catch. You might catch us is probably that one.
I doubt it.
Well, I was giving you guys the benefit of the doubt, So, and then Ohtani with the last game of the series, or is it the last game of the series?
Yeah.
He's slowly working his way back in terms stamina wise, and he's these past 2 starts he's been going 4 innings at least. So
he's scheduled for another 4.
yeah, at least, yeah. So like slowly.
I gotta ask you this though before James gets back into it. Like, how do you have a $300 million payroll and have problems? That's just my question.
Injuries.
Injuries.
I mean,
Injuries. We've been. I think
you
that's
should have
been.
bought yourself a second team then, and then ease that one in.
If that was possible, maybe that we could.
Let me ask Renee real quick, just about this is going to become Dodger talk on AM 570, but the trade deadline, you had to be really disappointed. You know, I know Clase was off the board because of the gambling scandal. You already have somebody on the team with that, but you got away with it. But yeah, not just getting Alex Call. Not really going for any of the big names in the trade deadline and maybe seeing them go somewhere else. Was it just a case of, hey, we're going to wait for those injured players to come back? Or did the Dodgers just hold on to their minor league prospects, thinking those are more valuable down the line?
I'm thinking it's a little bit of both because I think they're just trying to. They didn't really do anything. Like I was expecting them to go after Clase, because I know they had an eye on him with all that stuff that happened with him. So I guess they kind of okay, we're gonna look the other way, and I guess they went through just stuff that they more needed, at the time. So and plus two, yeah, we did have. I guess it's to give people that are on the injured list or that are coming back from injury, time to shore up, heal up, So hopefully, I know there's gonna come next month when the rosters expand. So hopefully we keep a few of them once that happens. So, but yeah, I think it was a little bit of both, holding on to their prospects, and they weren't looking for nothing. It looks like they weren't looking for nothing big. So
yeah, and shout out to the rookie reliever Mason Fluharty, who had the bases loaded in the bottom ninth of Sunday's game against LA. The Blue Jay reliever striking out Shohei and Mookie Betts to get the final 2 outs in that game. They were only down or up 5-4, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Just a challenge, and it was accepted and won by Fluharty. Just the Blue Jays are just, I think, shocking a bunch of people. But to get through that gauntlet, Mookie Betts, I know he had a home run, I think, on Saturday, but he's been really struggling for LA. But guess what? He's playing the Get Right team coming up this weekend, and he doesn't have, or this week, and he doesn't have to travel far for it. So it's it'll be fun time for everybody in blue.
We make dreams come true.
Yeah, Disneyland is right down the street. Yeah. Let's get to some trailblazing news, so to speak.
Oh no!
You knew this was coming, right?
Yeah.
Jen Powwow. I think that's how we're going to announce her name.
She looks like she's related to Marsha, by the way.
She's got to call in sometime. Shout out to Marsha. She became the first female umpire, let's just say, Saturday. She was on the first baseline, in Saturday's Miami-Atlanta game, in which I think Atlanta won. And then Sunday, she was behind the plate for the first time in the majors, in the regular season game. A woman was, calling balls and strikes. Obviously, a dream come true and a vision for Major League Baseball to have equality. Funny thing is, though, the first pitch, I don't know if you guys saw this, the first pitch on Sunday wasn't even close. It was inside, off the plate, and she called it a strike. I think it was scripted for that way. But she joined everybody else's equality who's an umpire to get the calls wrong with that pitch, with the first pitch. So she finished the game. Obviously a big deal there. I wonder how many other games she'll do this year, if she's going to be be a part of the rotation, or there are really no complaints. We were waiting for maybe a, how they do in movies, we were waiting for a woman, playing sports or going into a man's field of work, and we were waiting for a confrontation to happen. We didn't get that, but I'm waiting to see, what an umpire will do. We see this in basketball all the time, where an NBA player will just argue with any type of ref. They could be a bear, they can be a tooth fairy, whoever it is. An NBA player will go argue with it, so to speak. But I'm waiting for that time that we have an argument with Jen, and we'll see what happens with there. Guys, let me get your reaction with this. How did you feel about the first female umpire this week in calling games in Atlanta?
I'll let you handle that one.
Look, some may say that I'm a little bit chauvinist, or but I'll look at it this way.
Really?
Hey, oh yeah, I know, hard to believe. But I'll say this: I've never liked female refs in the NFL. It's a It's a virtual signal. Same thing in college football. Don't like it in the NBA. Don't like it in NCAA. I don't. But here's the thing: I don't like men in women's sports. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be men coaches in women's sports. I don't think there should be men referees. I don't think there should be a lot of things. I think if you're going to have one gender, you should have one gender, and that's it. And the reason why I bring that up is because forget the females or the men in female sports. It speaks for itself. But they could, and we've seen referees in football get hit, women by linebackers or whatever, and it hasn't happened seriously to where someone's been a broken leg or something like that. But it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. You see these big guys in football yelling at the refs, and what happens? The players get chewed out all over social media. How dare you do that? Well, don't have a female in that position. Same thing in the NBA. The NBA refs, the females do their best out there, but they get yelled at by these big, gigantic players. And you know what? They shouldn't be out there to be getting yelled at, because they know there's a lot riding on the game. And when the emotions get stirred up, yes, the players may, and for the most part, we've seen it, they apologize after the fact. But when you're stuck in the middle of competition, like everyone yelled at Richard Sherman when he yelled at that announcer when he was talking about Crabtree back in the day, but that was raw emotion. And that was a sideline reporter getting him right after he made the play of his career. And he's a feisty player, so he was showing his raw emotion. I guarantee you they wouldn't have made a big deal out of that had that been a male sideline reporter. But that goes to my whole point. And when it comes to baseball, what happens in baseball if she's calling balls and strikes, to your point, and it gets real heated and a Brett Boone comes out there? Is he going to chest bump her? Like they bump the other refs? No, you can't do that. Is he going to yell at her and get in her face, spit, and all this other stuff? No, because if he does, he's getting crucified.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that takes away from the game. I don't think it belongs there. So that's my whole take on it. It's not that she can't perform. It's because of the emotion and the game itself. It just shouldn't go there. Again, I wouldn't want a man in a female sport calling balls and strikes, calling whatever in a game. I think it should be like, if you're going to commentate on a game or it's one thing, but if you're in the field of play with that same gender, I don't think it's right.
There's some valid points there.
There was a lot of good points.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm passionate.
You're very passionate. But for me, I have a not as opinionated as Tom.
You don't say.
Yeah. But for me, I have a simple thing. If they're able to do their job, then who's to say that they can't do it? Other than this guy, might just give them a shot. So I mean, it's gonna suck. If they get a bad call, if it's another, say, if it's in a Laker game or a Dodger game, they make a bad call.
So if she gets the heat, are you like the Russian boxer in Rocky? If she dies,
she dies. Just let her out there. She's the one that wanted to take that job. Let her.
So she gets the smoke.
Because she's asking for it.
I just don't want everybody to make it a big deal on social media. So if she's out there and she's getting ripped apart for making a horrific call, well, that's on her.
It's on her because she wanted that. They probably asked her beforehand, "Do you think you can handle this?" But if she thinks that she can handle that, then more power to her. So We'll see how that goes down the line.
I can think of what happened in the NBA. I think it was in 96 or 97. Violet Palmer was the first female ref in the NBA. I think everything went smooth from there. I forget the one in the NFL.
Here's the one thing that I brought up, James. Like, the Giants have that first base coach, right? She's female.
Yeah.
Like, the problem I have with that is not that she can't do the job, but you know as well as I know, and I've been in the locker room with baseball teams, the coaches all belong in there, and they'll be in there when you're getting dressed. I mean, can she be exactly 100% of the team by being in there when the guys are – I mean, again, after the games, when the managers are giving their speeches, sometimes they're just in a jockstrap or they're freaking butt naked. And so, I mean, is she cool to be in there like that? And it's not like she's an ugly woman. She's attracted to probably most of these players. So, I mean, again, it's just not comfortable. I mean, you wouldn't want to put a female in that situation. And I'm sure most females wouldn't want to be in that situation in front of a room full of guys that are half naked or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just their preference. And it almost like everybody has to be the future people from South Park, where everybody is nobody. They're all alike. That's, I guess, the way you have to go about it. It just depends who they are and what they are. And then they have to just roll with it. And think about this, too. You probably have to give, as the umpire, they get their own locker room. But what about, does she get her own room?
Yeah.
You have to think about that now.
Probably go to the room and waits.
Janitor closet. That's what it is. I mean, are these stadiums gonna make like? I don't know. They make extra rooms, like you said. I mean, they're.
Think about in West Sacramento with the limited space that they have at that minor league ballpark. Mm-hmm. If they're going to give her an extra room, it could be the janitor's closet, which would be awful. But I bet they'll put it, nice that she doesn't know that it is.
Take out all the cleaning supplies out.
Yeah. Flowers.
It'll be a trailer outside of the stadium, like a little trailer.
That would be sad. I mean, have you seen where they do the media press conferences? It's like in a little hut.
It's like a tough shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What they've done with the West Sacramento is just awful. Speaking of awful, it always smells in New York like something. It always looks bad sometimes in New York, depending where you are. Like
rats are as big as cats.
That's what I've heard.
Sometimes
the
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Sometimes the subway station doesn't work. The hot dogs, don't taste well. And then you have the baseball teams lately in New York have just been awful. Let's start off with the New York Mets. They've made some moves at the deadline. They brought in a couple of bullpen pieces, but they've really fallen since the end of June, it feels like. And now they've lost the last 11 out of 12. They're really going the wrong way. In their last 10, they're 1 of 9. They lost 7 straight. They're still 63-55. That's how much of a good start they had. Remember, the focus was on Juan Soto at first, really struggling out of the gate. He was getting walks, but now, they almost got no hit by Cleveland, I think, on Wednesday, and people were criticizing that. Like, how does that happen with the all-star lineup that they have? But it's mostly on their bullpen. Edwin Diaz gave up a walk-off today or a Sunday against Milwaukee. Ryan Helsley had some issues. The defense has been really bad. The third base situation is weird. Injuries have kind of derailed them. They got Cedric Mullins, who I thought was going to be a Dodger. He ended up with the Mets. And I don't know how he's done, but, the team hasn't done as well. But they've really fallen. And then it gets worse if you go to the Bronx, the Yankees. And this has been a problem for a while now. By the way, the Mets, I think, the second wild card. They went down to third, and they're only a game and a half ahead of Cincinnati for the third wild card spot.
Wow.
It's just amazing how they've fallen. But the Yankees, They still have a good record at 62-56, and they have the third wild card spot. But again, Cleveland is a half game behind. Yankees, they've thrown the ball all over the field wild defensively. They have a left fielder, Jason Dominguez, who will let balls drop either over his head or in front of him. He is just terrified of catching a ball, but he has all the power in the world. They have Trent Grisham, who's a center fielder, so nonchalant, but at the plate, he's like all or nothing. And I saw him in San Diego here, and he was the same way. Aaron Judge, was on the IL. He's back on, but they had Giancarlo Stanton out in right today, and he is so fragile. You have Jazz Chisholm playing the infield, and he's making errors all over the place. I thought they should have traded him away, but there's just so many problems. And then the bullpen, you think they would have got stronger at the deadline. Devin Williams was really struggling. They brought in or traded for David Bednar, and there was another one out there. But they really did what they were supposed to do to revive their pitching. But it really hasn't worked out for them. Again, they in their last 10, they're 3-7. They lost 2 of 3 to the Astros this weekend. So New York baseball right now is, it's juicy for, the media, but it's hell for Aaron Boone, who on the daily at Yankee Stadium is getting the Fire Boone treatment, getting booed. I think he was ejected 2 out of 3 games this weekend, by the way, as well. The Mets with Carlos Mendoza, it's only, I think, his second year, but already the heat's on him. Guys, what do you think about the New York teams and how they have performed as of late?
Want to take it?
You can take this. You can take Greg over.
Well, it's tough for 2 small market teams like New York. They have to deal with the tough money, both of them. But no, they're big market teams. They got to have their big money pants on, and they're underperforming. And I don't agree with the fandom from New York. They're so critical. Everything's got to be win or else. And I guess it's the money you put into it and whatnot. But being New York, you got to be ahead of everybody else. But I think Boone is getting justified criticism. You could kind of say Mendoza a little bit too, but because right now the Yankees shouldn't be this bad defensively. They should know they're going to suffer some injuries, and it's not like Judge is a Gold Glover out there either. He sucks in the outfield. So
sure.
You're going to have your errors, but that's what the big bad Yankees are about. Well, okay, they're going to make mistakes. They can make up for them with one swing of the bat. I think their problem is the same as the Angels. They're not mixing in the small ball. It's all or nothing. And then their pitching has just been erratic for whatever reason. I thought when they got Devin Williams, I thought, all right, that's cool, man. That's going to solidify their back end. And then the same thing with the Mets. Again, it's all or nothing for most of these guys. There's too much hitting home runs. It's like if they start swinging, they got the guys who can get hits too. I mean, those power hitters we've seen have high averages, but they're just hitting the skids too. So both these teams, with the New York media still the way it is, that's the thing. When you play in a big market like New York, you're going to feel the pressure. It's going to affect your gameplay. And at some point, these coaches got to say, okay, man, we got to realize we're going to take some criticism. You just got to work at your best. Make this part of your game to ignore. Ignore this part and just focus on what you can handle. Stay off of social media. If you don't want to answer very many questions, just give them the cliches and get out of there. And that's what you got to do, because otherwise they're feeding into their own BS and they're making it worse. And they're believing the hype. They're believing the problems, and they're making it worse. And instead of thinking about, okay, how we could change the narrative, change what happens the next game, only keep what's in front of us, don't look back. They're being reminded over and over to look back, and they're getting so much heat, and they're playing like they're under a lot of pressure. It's obvious.
Yeah, it's just amazing. You want Juan Soto not to say much in the media, but you feel like he's going to say something eventually.
Yeah.
For the Yankees, it kind of feels like deja vu all over again because they kind of showed this in the World Series last year. If you remember, Renee, they had some big errors, especially in the fifth game, that led to the championship for LA.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole forgetting
how one, but since '87. By the way,
yeah, no, you had to throw it out there.
Ring pop doesn't count. Go ahead. Sorry.
What was it? Garrett Cole, he forgot how many outs, or he didn't.
Garrett Cole forgot how to cover a base.
Yeah, he forgot to cover first, and that just led to the Aaron Judge dropping a ball, I think, and it's just more of the same. And you're ready without Cole. You have Max Fried, but they didn't really do much for him today against Houston. So it's a story everybody just keep tabs on because, again, it's the biggest media market. You expect both to win with how much they paid certain players on the team. We'll see what happens. Some good news though.
Oh wait,
go ahead. And plus with the Mets were supposed to like rival us.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, and there was like if you were to put their lineup versus our lineup on paper, they were supposed to rival at their best, and which is our best. They were supposed to rival us, and still what a month and a half left. It's not looking like we're going to be meeting in the playoffs, but things can change.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens going down the line with them.
Yeah, you throw in the Phillies and the Padres, and you got a final four there. And Milwaukee is, of course, trying to make their way in. They honestly didn't know if they were going to have fans today or Sunday because they have flash flooding and record rainfall. Luckily, Great American Field has a roof over their head. But they had the walk-off today against the Mets. Isaac Collins had a walk-off there. So that was very good. Ninth consecutive win for Milwaukee. Justin Verlander joins the ultra-rare club of his 3,500 strikeout. That was a great thing there. Ichiro, I think on Saturday, had the retirement of his number in Seattle there on Saturday. Going back, though, to a couple weekends before, Hall of Fame ceremonies had Ichiro, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner. Yeah, and then the two that, of course, couldn't make it, sadly, Dave Parker and Dick Allen were two players from the 70s and 80s, or at least Parker was 70s, 80s, and 90s. Parker was 60s and 70s. But that class, you guys, if you want to talk about that real quick, it is good to see Wagner finally get in. It seems like the people ahead of him as closers finally, they got in, and it was finally his time. I didn't think CC was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he worked his way to do it. Playing in with the Yankees really helped him too. But Ichiro coming over and having the most hits combined, Japan and here, he was just a spectacle. And again, I always tell the story about Ichiro. I remember him sending line drives effortlessly into the right field pavilion at the Big A. But he never did that during the game. He literally he was the best drag bunter I think there ever was. Speed, he could throw anybody out from anywhere. He was just a marvel coming in at 2001, and he played all those years. It was weird seeing him with the Marlins getting his 3,000th MLB hit, and seeing him with the Yankees at the end was weird. But this Hall of Fame class was amazing. Any words about that?
Yeah, I mean, just Ichiro was the most dynamic player that I had seen. That he could just do whatever he wanted out there on the field. He still is pretty competitive. I know when he goes over to Japan, plays those all-star games. He can still hit, still strike people out. He's a good pitcher too, which people don't know. And so I thought it was awesome. And then, obviously you said Lee Arthur and others have opened the door for other closers. And I have a feeling at some point, even though his, it's not close now, but at some point people are going to have to say, hey, Frankie Rodriguez belongs in the Hall of Fame. I do think he should. I mean, if you're going to let a guy in like eventually Jansen, because Jansen will get in, I think you got to give a shot to Frankie too, because he dominated for so long. Was like a 40 to 50 save guy every year. And then unfortunate with Parker passing away just a couple months before. I thought MLB did him dirty. He should have been in
longer than
at least 10 years ago. Dave Parker was, he might have pissed off some reporters, but I think for the most part, dude, that's why I hate the MLB voting in general, because you have a lot of the newer class of voters are not as big a douchebags as the old class. But the old class really took offense if you didn't grant them interviews, if you said no to them, if you give them snobby remarks.
Eddie Murray.
Some of these players, it's just like that's part of their makeup. What you should hold them accountable for, unless they do a crime off the field, is how they played on the field. That's all it should matter. It shouldn't matter what happens in the locker room.
You know what, Todd? I think what happened too, these older players are getting in the Veterans Committee because of the new stats that are on now. They could go back and somehow do all the nerd work and saying, oh, this guy had a better WAR than this guy, so he should be in. Or this guy already has a better WAR and he's in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but this guy's in the Hall of Fame and he has a less of a WAR, or whatever you want to put up there. So that's also happening for those players who can't get in. I think one who visited the Angel media or the TV booth today, Lou Whitaker, I think is one guy that will probably be somehow next in there. I think Trammell already got in, I want to say. So Lou Whitaker, those 80s Tiger teams up the middle. Eventually the other one will get in. But Renee, you have anything on the class that got in, or anything of we talked about with Verlander?
Well, yeah, with Verlander, he's his career. He's a surefire Hall of Famer. Once he retires, all due respect to him. Great career. With the Hall of Fame class, Ichiro was awesome to watch. In the post, I think he came a little after Griffey, right? And he kind of he took Seattle by storm, and guy, great arm, great, couldn't run at him for nothing.
Couldn't throw him out.
No, and that guy was quick, even what was it? I still remember the All-Star, one of the few All-Star games that I've seen with him in it. What was it? First pitch, and he hits it inside. It was in San Francisco.
Yeah,
it was in San Francisco, and he hit it. He hit it off the wall, and Griffey misplayed it, and he scored like it was nothing. That before you knew it, he was already home.
Yeah.
That was out in Triples Alley.
Yeah.
07. I still remember that because it was funny because Griffey, I think, got traded in 2000. Ichiro came in 01 in Seattle.
Yeah, and Griffey was already in Cincinnati by then. CC Sabathia, great competitor, great. He was a good pitcher. He was a workhorse.
Yeah,
great workhorse. He was going to give you innings. He was going to grind out those games for you and keep you in the game. And that followed him all the way to the end of his career. And that's a good pitch for me. In that mind, it's a great pitcher. And Billy Wagner, great saves guy. In other words, in terms of letting people in that haven't been in it in a while, I'm pretty sure people have. I know it is one of a big topic of people that were supposed to get in but haven't got in because of stuff that they've done prior. Say, Pete Rose, gambling, all that stuff, and then they make the announcement saying, "Oh yeah, if you can do this and that, they'll let you off. Well, okay, we'll let you in. Well, after they died or something, And for me, that's kind of sucks. So that feels like a slap in the face because they were never going to let them in while they were alive. So people like him, even
all the steroid guys.
Even the 1919 Black Sox, even Shoeless Joe Jackson, he's even going to get put into consideration to getting into the Hall of Fame. And for years, his family has tried to get him in or petition to remove that sanction on him. And now with that being lifted, you could be looking at both him and Shoeless Joe Jackson probably on a special committee getting in.
Yeah.
So, but it might take that. For me, that's a slap in the face because they were great players in their own right. Based off the numbers alone, if they were just judging based off the numbers, Pete Rose should have been in long time ago.
Probably get in next year.
He'll probably get in the next in the next time that they do it.
Yeah.
And Shoeless Joe Jackson if people that don't know their baseball, he was a great player in his era. They said that he was on par with Babe Ruth at the time. So, like, if you were to go, like, you would have to really look up and do your research on him. But yeah, he was a great hitter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's where I stand in terms of the whole Hall of Fame issue. So, if they do get in, that's great for them. But that's way overdue.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so good for Verlander. It's something to hang his hat on. He's had a bad season so far. No run support for him. And by the way, really bad, really quick, what happened last week in Bristol, Tennessee. The Speedway Classic was a disaster. They were all systems go. They had the flyover, but they never started on time. And it took, I think, 2.5 hours? They tried to play the first inning, but couldn't even do that. It started to pour again at the racetrack in Bristol. It was the Reds hosting the Braves, so to speak. They had cool numbers and cool hats, but the game had to be suspended until the next day, and there were less people there. They said 85,000, the most for a game ever, at least tickets sold. But it didn't look like it on Sunday. It ended up being, I think, a Braves win, but kind of the lore of it kind of went away for this special type of game. I don't know where they'll go next. Maybe Jerry's World. I have no idea. But I always wanted to ask Renee, where's the stadium or a place you think MLB should play a game? Let's say it was like the Dodgers and Cubs or something, and they've never been there before to play a game, like an unusual place.
Unusual place. I mean, they could use a soccer stadium, but I don't think that's big enough.
Yeah.
I mean, not anywhere that I like. I mean, the only place that I could think of, and plus that like the retractable roof is Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could be a good.
I don't think it's
site.
Big enough, to be honest with you.
They would have to. They'd have to pull whatever they did in Oakland.
I think what the one that would make sense to me is if they played at the Cotton Bowl. Cotton Bowl can almost, it's a historic stadium. It's outside of Dallas. You could probably fit a good 95 to 100,000 in that. So there's spots like that. I would have to say it would be a college football stadium. If you're gonna ask me. That's why I'm surprised the Dodgers haven't had one of their games at the Rose Bowl, to be honest with you. I know they did it at USC because they had played there when they first came over. But I think the Rose Bowl can be moved in a way to where you can get 100, you can actually play a baseball game in it.
Mm-hmm. That record was an exhibition game in 2008 with the Red Sox because it was the 50th anniversary of moving to LA, and that was over 103,000.
Coliseum, right?
Yeah, at the Coliseum. But this was a regular season record. Speaking of records, let's get to the standings and streaks. AL West right now, Houston only leads by Seattle for half of a game. 6.5 is Texas, 3 back, or in third place, I should say. The Angels 10 games back. It feels like more in fourth place. The A's, I almost said the O word, 14 back in last place, but they are climbing up to maybe take over the Angels this division here. I'll just run through them and we can talk about the streaks here. Toronto still has first place over Boston. Boston second place, 4 games back. New York is 6.5 back. Tampa Bay 12 back. They've really fallen back. Baltimore 15.5 back now in that AL East. The Central looks a little bit different in the AL. Detroit only leads Cleveland by 6. I thought that was a done deal. Last time I think we talked or we had a show here, I think they were both like 8 or 9 back of Cleveland, and Kansas City was 10 back at one point. Now, what was it? KC is 9.5 back, Minnesota 11, and then the White Sox 24.5 back. In the National League, you have the NL East. They lead the Mets now by 5.5, and they're starting to part ways with first place is New York. The Miami Marlins, they're only 11.5 back. It seems like they should be where the Braves are. Braves are 17.5 back, and then Washington, who's had a down year. Remember, they fired their GM and manager before the draft. They're 21 games back in last place. The NL Central, Milwaukee, all of a sudden is 6 games above the Cubs for first place. Cincinnati 12, St. Louis 14, and then Pittsburgh in their customary position at 23 games and 23 games place, 23 games back in last place. The Dodgers in the AL West only lead by 2. At this time, usually, Renee, the Dodgers are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games above second place. Well, San Diego has retooled. Again, they deplete their farm system, and now they're only 2 back of LA. And I believe they play each other, I want to say, next weekend in San Diego. The Giants are 9 back in third place. Arizona, who kind of sold at the deadline, 11 back. And then Colorado, 37.5 back of first place with a record of 30-87. Remember, the White Sox had the worst record last season of the modern era at 41-121. So Colorado, by the way, they have to face the Dodgers 7 times, and then the Padres, I think, 6 times. They got to only have 10 more wins to make it happen. And just for record's sake, I hope this happens. But Todd, you want to get into any of the divisional races or the wild card? Let me go through the wild card real quick because, again, Seattle has the first wild card, Boston the second, Yankees the third. They only have it by half in the game of Cleveland. Texas 2.5 back. They've kind of fallen. Kansas City only 4 back, if you can believe that. In the National League, Chicago has the first wild card spot, San Diego second, the Mets have the third, but Cincinnati's at 1.5 game back of the third wild card spot, and then St. Louis all of a sudden has kind of risen. They're 3.5 back despite their trades. They're only a game above 500, but I didn't think they would be competing this year. They had Sunday Night Baseball and this weekend against the Cubs, so that was fun to watch. But any of these races or any of these teams that are on winning streaks or losing streaks you want to talk about, there's Milwaukee, who has won 9 straight, the Mets, who have lost 7 straight, as well as the Rockies, who have lost 7 straight. Let's see, what else? Seattle has won 7 straight. Tampa Bay has lost 3 straight. Anything step out to you?
You want to talk to American League and I'll go national?
Yeah, well, I had a couple thoughts. I'll just say this. Here, you take American, I'll take national.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'll just say this. The Cardinals, I don't think, are that team. I think a dark horse would probably be the Giants if they were to get red hot in September.
Yeah.
Cincinnati could be scary. But out of those teams that are alive for the wild card, I think the best one that's put together that could possibly pass the Dodgers and put the Dodgers there is the Padres. The Cubs, I'm really tripping on. Because they had that division sewed up. They had like a 6 or 8 game lead on the Brewers, and the Brewers are just hot. I don't know if they could stay this hot, Renee, to get into August or into September and ride it into the postseason. But if for some reason they found their mojo, Milwaukee, they're not going to exactly sneak up on anybody because of the record.
Yeah,
but
very deceiving.
They are definitely a difficult team to face, right?
They are. I mean, yeah, we already had our trouble with them already. So
they whooped that ass.
Yeah, they did. No, we didn't win. I don't think we got swept.
No, you did get swept.
We got.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but then again, what month are we in? So it's early. Well, not early, but a lot can change. And once playoff time comes around, once
the cream rises to the top,
so, and who knows what might happen, so with the National League, that is more jam packed than anything, so any of these top 5 teams can flip flop, so
all right.
who knows, the Giants might creep up and pass if they get hot, or if the New York Mets find they're back to their winning ways, they might go up there and get the second spot.
Well, here, since you commented on that, if you got anything else on the National, I was going to, we want to take dibs at
we can, but we're both giving our take. We'll go.
Okay, well then on the American League, real quick, I say Seattle's going to have that spot at maybe do the same thing the Padres might, jump the Astros and put the Astros there. So I think the Astros and Mariners are locks to get in. I think the Red Sox are a lock to get in along with the Blue Jays. It's the Yankees, bro, who I think are trending down like everything that James, that James freaking said. Those are hard to change the narratives this late in the season.
Yeah.
You got that many problems. And a team that I think that could jump them, I'm not believing in Ohio, but I'm really thinking that even though they've lost 4 in a row, I think Texas at some point is going to flip a switch. Yeah. And they could be possibly the team to knock out the Yankees. What do you think the same thing?
I think like Texas could be streaky. So, they're not, they're still like they're like a couple of years removed from
the World Series, yeah.
So they do have the parts. It's just a matter of just making the run.
But what do you think about those other jumbled up teams
in the bottom?
Yeah, no, right here. I mean, between Kansas City and Minnesota and Ohio.
I mean, if I have to choose a team to go from those like Kansas City, Tampa, Minnesota, I would say either Minnesota or Kansas City, that are more primed to make more of a run.
Easier schedule.
Seattle, of course, with the top. Seattle is going to be right there.
They beefed that team up, dude.
Yeah,
they're scary.
And the Yankees is very hard to trust them right now because if you think about it, I mean, they've made some additions, but they're most the same team as last year. And now, now you're really seeing what they are right now, what they're made of, because Judge is out, and who do you got over there? Stanton, and Stanton is slow as molasses.
Yeah,
out there, so he's not gonna go and chase down anything.
Yeah,
so like you said, they're trending downward, but painfully slow, which is, I bet you to Yankee fans, that's pretty hard.
Killing them right now.
It's killing them right now.
Well, last thing I got, James, before you throw it back over to you, the Rockies I want to touch on, especially the streaking. There is a chance with the final 45 games that they could win only 10. That's very doable. But that's not even tripping on. What I'm tripping on is the fact that right now, as of this production, they're minus 329 in the run differential. You just sent me a text saying about the run differential, and it was at what 362 is the record?
I think it was negative 389 by the Red Sox in 1932.
Okay, so 389. They're going to break that. They are definitely going to break that. You're talking about only 60 more runs that they have to be minus in. So you're basically talking about, okay, they're going to lose a game 5-0. They're going to lose 10-2. That's going to add up real quick, man. I think they're going to set the record of over 400 minus, bro.
That's unheard of.
I was looking at their schedule here. Now, they're facing, if you exclude what happened this weekend against Arizona, in which they got swept by the Diamondbacks in Arizona, they face Arizona one more time and Pittsburgh one more time. But the rest of the time, they're facing teams that are either above 500 or 500 the rest of the way.
It's doable.
So they face St. Louis, Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the Pirates, the Astros, the Cubs, San Francisco twice, San Diego 7 times, the Dodgers 3 more times, Miami 3 times, the Angels, who I forgot, Seattle 3 times, And like I said, San Francisco to end it.
Hey, there's a possibility they get 6 out of those 10 wins in Miami and Anaheim.
The Angels, yeah.
Who
I
knows?
mean, it feels like last year all over again. You know, bringing in the White Sox or the White Angels going to Chicago, and you know the Angels taking games, and the fans disappointed in Chicago that they couldn't break the record there. You know how the fans are there, but we might have that in Colorado in a better ballpark. I mean, the fans still show up, which is crazy. It could be against Miami, Pittsburgh, like I saw Skeens against the Rockies, and he was going very well, and then the Rockies hit him up. But there were still like 30 plus thousand there. You would think with the roster that they've made, the owner being so cheap that nobody would show up. But that ballpark is so nice. The beer must be nice. You know, everything is nice over there. The weather, of course, now is great. But
well, you remember, James, when they made their World Series run, guys, this and or even their playoff runs that they've had, because they've actually had a couple playoff runs in between the Angels' futility. You could look at their attendance, and their attendance for the year in those years where they were competitive or in the postseason, at least, they were easily over 3 million. And it'd be a Saturday night, it'd be a Sunday morning game. That place is beautiful when it's packed, and most of the time it is packed.
Oh yeah.
They had the 2-month run or 3-month run in 2007, which led to their only World Series appearance. They defeated the Cubs, I think, in 2019 in the wild card game. I think it was when there was only one game. The years where they started in Mile High Stadium, and then they moved into Coors and won right away with the bombers that they had. Eric Young Sr., who we see every game with the Angels, he was part of that. And all the Dante Bichette, who was a former Angel. Then it led to Larry Walker and Todd Helton and all these guys. They can't get pitchers to go there either. All these free agent pitchers, they just don't want to go there because you could put the balls in the humidifier or whatever, they still go out. The balls are different now. The seams are longer, and there's more base being hit of it. So, we want to send some good luck to the Rockies, but we also want that record broken, and then baseball could stop. And we'll be fine with that.
Yep.
If anybody has anything else, any final thoughts here on Around the League?
Just thank you for bringing me on, bro, and also having Renee here as well.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, absolutely, talking baseball and keep it going, my man.
Yeah, it's kind of good not to just talk about the Angels at least. I forgot what the playoffs feel like I always mention, or competitive juices. I forget all about that. But shout out again to our sponsors, 714 Tickets, where you get 10% off if you use the code HITI. That's for anything. Concert tickets, theater tickets, football tickets, WNBA tickets are out there, but don't throw anything on the floor.
Yeah, the over-under on how many hit the floor has been fantastic of late.
You guys are putting protective things to protect the floor.
I heard that they real quick. Since you brought it up, James.
I did.
But they were actually going to in the next. I forget who the two teams were, but they were getting threats of more projectiles on the court. That they were trying to do a COVID thing and not have any fans. I was like, since when is that different from any other game?
Wow.
But
I think that was the story. No, I'm sorry. The Fever and the it doesn't matter. They put the fence there thinking that whatever, but
that didn't help.
What would you throw on the field if you were at the baseball game?
I
know that would be you.
I mean, it's like you don't want to throw stuff on the field, so we're not advocating for that. But
no, never.
I remember back in the day, it was seat cushion night at Anaheim. They threw all those on and those were very lightweight. They were obviously styrofoam or whatever foam stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't advocate for throwing baseballs because back in the day, the Angels had a baseball night. They give away baseballs or mini baseball bats. So they were like a Obviously, that would have hurt if that hit someone from the upper deck. But yeah, you never know what those projectiles are made out of, and if they're made out of if they have batteries in them, might
That's
really
the
hurt.
bad part. That's yeah. The Dodgers, since Renee's here, they had to postpone a game or forfeit a game against the Cardinals at Dodger Stadium '95 because people were throwing Dodger baseballs on the field. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to see it. OC Dugout, by the way, if you want to get like any memorabilia, any cards out there, any autograph signings, whatever there, check out LC Dugout there. The numbers are all down here on the ticker, by the way. What is it? Max Market Pros, get your social media and your business going. They know how to get it out there. And then by Brewheim to go get your drink on. I believe there's drink specials there, right, Todd? If you
Yeah,
mention
you just gotta ask
HITI
them. Yeah.
or ask them what's up. I always get that 50% beer. I'm hoping in September to get out there for something when the team is, at their customary position of 16 games out instead of being 10. I'm ready to go for that. As the weather gets hotter and all that.
Hey, it's bring your paper bag night to the stadium.
I'm ready. Oh, that reminds me. I forget what services is, but you can find shirts that have the bag head on it and not LA, not OC, but Anaheim. You get those shirts.
You go to our Shopify on YouTube.
Shopify. It's got the Heedy shirt that I have, the hat.
Yeah.
Somewhere over there. Yeah. So check us out on all the platforms, and thank you guys for coming on. I thank you everybody for watching the Around the League show with James. We'll see you next time.